The red and blue lights washed over my fence when the sergeant snapped cuffs on the HOA president. She still had the axe handle in her fist, and that wild look that says the rules only apply to other people. 10 minutes earlier, she swore she'd rip my fence out by hand. And 10 seconds later, the sirens decided for her. Let me start from the beginning. My name is Cole Barrett. 4th generation on a patch of high desert outside Archer County, New Mexico. I run cattle fix, what breaks and keep my barn in the color barns have been since barns had a say in it. Red bright, unapologetic red across the county road sits Sandstone Ridge. Cul-de-sacs and gravel that never gets its boots dirty, ruled by the Sandstone Ridge HOA, with a president named Evelyn Price, who wears authority like perfume and wields a binder like a weapon. You know what I mean. It began with duct tape at dawn, a notice glued to my gate like a dare. Architectural guideline. Color harmony, $500 per day. After warning for a barn color that offended beige sensibilities. I smiled because cussing before sunrise never helped a man fed the notice to the burn barrel, and went back to chores because the fence is a promise around here, and my deed predates their rulebook by about 80 years. 2 days later, she rolled up in a coral pantsuit, like a traffic flare golf cart in front. Sheriff's cruiser behind. Out stepped Sergeant Nate Hollis, with that face a man gets after too many mailbox disputes, and a younger deputy still learning his radio codes. Evelyn jabbed a finger at me. He is willfully defying a compliance order, arrest him. And the sergeant sighed like he'd lost a bet with Monday Ma'am. We checked the county plat, Minot. Barrett's parcel is ag-zoned and sits outside your HOA. Your bylaws don't reach his fence. She cracked that binder like scripture preliminary annexation, future residential integration, and I stayed leaning on my post, because the louder someone gets, the quieter I like to be. You've got a binder, I told her. I've got a deed. This fence is the line. You're on your side. I'm on mine behind me. My girlfriend Maya Brooks held her phone at that steady angle. She saves for nonsense. Smile for the camera. Evelyn, try not to look like you're auditioning to manage the county, and that landed about how you'd expect. She hissed that she'd see my ranch condemned, then left in a cloud of indignation. The deputies lingered. Hollis tipped me a look that said he didn't have the budget or the patience for this circus keep filming. He said paper bullies hate daylight, and I tried to settle, but peace gets thin when a person writes your name in their notebook. Yeah, that happened. 3 days later, the heat stood straight up, and the cattle huddled around the troughs, restless and loud. Water should have been flowing from a well line that runs the edge of my north pasture. I traced pipe to the concrete housing, found a heavy chain, and a brand new brass lock stamped. Here, water isn't a convenience, it's breath. I grabbed bolt cutters big enough to make a thief reconsider his career. The shackle popped, I spun the red wheel, and somewhere down the line I heard that soft thunder. You only earn by working for it. Water racing troughs, filling hooves. Settling the taste in my mouth was sweat and anger, and the realization that we were past paper now. That night, I sat under an oak with a mag light, and Maya's phone set to record "The Desert is Honest" at 2 in the morning. Crickets and owl, your own breathing. Then, the soft crunch of 2 people who think they're invisible. The beam hit them, and there she was, with a hired block of a man, carrying a hickory axe handle. Like detention, compliance check, she announced, like midnight. Field trips were standard. You're illegally tapping a shared aquifer, no. I told her that is my well. On my land, and you are 1 turn away from felony. Animal cruelty. The big guy tapped the pipe one more inch, and we'd have had a fountain at 2 a.m. I kept my voice level. You have 10 seconds to get off my property, or I call Hollis and hand him this video. My phone chimed. Maya had texted him earlier. Keep filming. He wrote back, log trespass, and menacing with a tool. Logic finally outran perfume. She yanked her guy back through the fence, and they vanished into beige. The next day, the attack went airborne. A white quadcopter hovered 30 feet up like a nosy mosquito, with a law degree. It spooked my mare every time I calmed her. I looked at my rope, looked at the drone, and Maya gave me that. Don't you dare grin, she knows won't stop me. Roping is timing and patience. I built a loop, let it climb the sky. The circle settled over the arms, and I yanked it down into a soft bed of hay. Plastic whined and gave up. Tape to the belly was a violation ticket for unapproved agricultural equipment. Tractor, 1989. $100 per day, which actually made me laugh. In the hay lay a micro SD card the size of a crumb. I held it up. Maya stopped smiling. Is that what I think it is? It was exactly that. We watched it at the kitchen table, while a thunderhead teased the horizon. Hours of footage. My porch, my equipment, the neighbor's roses, and then the gold. The drone must have been parked on Evelyn's desk during a call with the camera. Accidentally on her voice, clear as a bell. The board has approved the revised annexation survey. Once we declare, blight under the charter foreclosure is automatic, and we can break ground by the end of the quarter. Maya leaned in like she could crawl into the pixels. There is no revised survey. She whispered, she's inventing paper and daring the world to argue. Time to bring someone who measures truth for a living. At sunrise, a retired county surveyor named Edgar Malone spread his old map on my truck hood. He studied the image we printed from the drone, tapped a tiny symbol. That's the benchmark, he said. The anchor, every measurement depends on this map. Claims it was drawn in 2007, but that symbol is the GPS disk. The county said in 2019. He laid a 2007 county map next to it and showed me the old brass disk that used to live under the post office steps. They used a mark that didn't exist yet. That is how a lie trips over time. We photographed everything. Shot GPS at the iron pins in my fence line. Edgar wrote a sworn affidavit, dry as a gavel, and twice as sharp. We carried it to the county. The planning commission nodded, frowned, asked the right questions. Then said, the thing you never want to hear when someone is stealing your quiet. It's an exhibit in pending litigation present in court. The wheels of justice turn. And I said, softly, they also need oil. That night, I sat very still, while doubt tried to set up a tent in my chest. Maya put a beer by my elbow and told me we'd been fighting in her arena, not ours. Here's the thing I don't brag about. Before the ranch, I helped build the payment and compliance platform, half the HOAs in the state use, and buried in that system is a forensic hold, written for exactly one purpose. When red flags pile high enough, a state-level administrator triggers an audit, and the non-essential money pipes freeze until the books prove clean. Landscaping pool service legal retainers collections. Pause. I had admin credentials. No one sunsetted when I left, and I had never used them. Because you don't pull that lever for a petty grudge. You pull it when a board goes rogue. I worried about the collateral. Vendors, neighbors, who just want their trash picked up on Thursday. And Maya said they're already paying for her war against a house that isn't even in the club. You built a seatbelt buckle her in, so I logged in and fed the machine what it needs to decide. Without me, the hot mic audio, the benchmark photos, Edgar's affidavit, a quick cross-check of public budgets against a sudden legal spike aimed at a non-member. 3 red flags lit a box popped up. Initiate forensic audit. I clicked yes, and the status flipped to bright red account frozen. Pending state audit. If you want to know how power really moves through a neighborhood, don't look for a gavel. Watch the trash. The landscapers missed their morning slot. The pool hung a closed for maintenance sign. No one believed the private sanitation truck refused pickup because the card on file bounced by sunrise. White bags lined perfect curbs, and folks who had ignored the notices suddenly had skin in the game. The HOA blasted an email about a temporary banking error. Temporary works like a Band-Aid on a broken axle. It didn't stick. Sandstone's bylaws. Say 25% of homeowners can force a recall meeting. Maya rallied texts like a field general. They cleared 50% in 2 days. Evelyn retaliated with a ticket storm. Improper signage scooter visible from street. Paper cannons with no ammunition because collections were frozen. The clubhouse overflowed for the recall. I came as a guest of Mrs. Vera. Dunlap 74 retired roller derby. Menace, the room boiled. Where are our dues going? Why are we paying to sue a rancher who isn't in the HOA ballots? Went into a paper box. Evelyn saw the tide and sent her muscle, Rick Slate, to grab the box and sprint. Mrs. Vera stuck out 1 foot with divine timing and taught him about floors ballots. Flu people scrambled, and Evelyn dropped to her knees, stuffing ballots into a tote like coupons. If it weren't a crime, it would have been slapstick. Maya stood on a chair, filming steady as a tripod. We didn't post it, not yet. We took it to Santa Fe, where the State Community Association Summit was happening. I stepped to a mic during Q&A and said, I didn't have a question. I had a case study. Maya handed the AV tech a drive and the big screen, filled with my red barn. I told the story like I'm telling you now. Low voice, no theatrics, waterlock drone, rope-forged map. Benchmark that didn't exist when the map claimed it did. And then the money trail clean. As daylight transfers from the HOA to Price Consulting LLC. A P.O. box Evelyn rents between a nail salon and a frozen yogurt joint, finally. The video of the tote bag, the room gasped. A woman up front stood and introduced herself as Laura Chen from the Attorney General's HOA Oversight Unit. Barrett, we need a copy of everything. And for the first time in months, I felt weight slide off the bar. 2 days later, Hollis called warrant approved for fraud, embezzlement, election tampering, plus the trespass and menacing from our midnight chat. Stay on your side of the fence and let us do our jobs. 10 minutes after that, the faint electric whine of an angry golf cart cut across immaculate gravel. Evelyn barreled to my wire axe handle, up like she could change physics by willpower. You did this? You ruined me. She spat. No. I told her you did this to yourself. Sirens rolled in. Red and blue painted her house the color of aftermath. Drop the handle. Ms. Price now. Hollis said something in her went slack. The handle thudded dull and final. They turned her, cuffed her. Read the words you never really hear until they echo off your own gate. And I stood there, breathing desert air that felt like mine again. Here's the part that will stir up comments. Was I right to flip the forensic hold, or did I cross the line? A seatbelt only feels controversial to the driver who refuses to wear it. I didn't shout my way through this. I filmed, I checked facts. I found the switch that made a machine pay attention. The fence never moved. Neither did I. Now it's your turn. Tell me what you think below. Did justice land, or did I go too far? Have you seen rules used to protect or to punish? Would you have voted to recall or to forgive? Share your take. Share your story. And if this hit home like the video, subscribe. Send it to that neighbor who measures your trash can from the sidewalk. I'm Cole. Thanks for riding this out with me. Stay safe. Stay stubborn. Keep your cameras rolling.